I can move while swinging on this guy. I can back up, continue to attack it, and just have complete control over my character while attacking this crab guy. There we go. Now let me actually switch over. Let me switch over to action. There we go. And let's see if we can find another crab person, or not person, but creature. Sorry. Actually, little known fact: crab creatures are actually people in Ashes. No, I'm just kidding. There we go. Alright, so let's do one.
That is actually, you guys are seeing the Pyre male for the first time in game. I know we've showed him on the stream before, as these character races get further fleshed out, but here you're seeing him in full flesh and blood.
And then we study it. We form hypotheses about what exactly it is that makes things feel good or not feel good. And then we make those things in as controlled a manner as we can. And then we turn the knobs, we tweak things, we see what feels good, what doesn't feel good. We come up with some rules, some processes, and then we put them to the test. And this is what comes out.
Yeah, it's a very iterative process, right? Like, you know, none of these things are like you form your theory on paper and then you go and you make the thing and it comes out to be exactly what you see now, right? Like it starts out the first time not super great, and then what we have to be able to do as engineers and designers is identify what is not great about those things and then just continue to iterate on those things. And that's, as long as you keep making it better each time, eventually you're going to end up with something good.
Yeah, and for this exercise and finding what makes Ashes great specifically, we wanted to approach it from the ground up, answering individual questions about our hypotheses and what we think is good, right? So we really focused on individual aspects that we think makes good combat and answered them one at a time in a very tight iterative process. And we ended up at something that we think feels really, really good. So, yeah. Responsive. So when you hit the ground decal actually appears on the ground when it should. You know, that's something that may not be seen in other MMOs. So we really wanted to make a big focus on that and focus on the responsiveness.
They already kind of cued that, and so I think now what you guys are doing is having it happen at like swing time, right?
Yep, it's constantly looking at your input and adjusting.
Now I've equipped these daggers, this dual wielding, these dual daggers. Talk to me a little bit about the differences between the heavier weapon group and the light weapon group.
Yeah, so initially in our investigation, we wanted to start with the light weapons to figure out how to really blend the weight of an attack and introduce, or start with player agency and then introduce that weight of the attack into it. We figured the least risky weapon to start with would be the lightest weapon possible. You know, little daggers that move very fast, very high player agency, and not necessarily focused on big weight, much like a heavy sword. So we started with that and tried introducing little bits and pieces here and there, like small bits of root motion to get that nice like dashy feel in when you're attacking, and play into that inertia. I know Keenan might want to talk more about the animation timing sheets we introduced for figuring out these timings that feel good.
Yeah, that's part of our process for communicating cross-department, is using frame timing diagrams and being specific about how we not only want to animate, but also how we want to move during different frames of the animation. And we found that to be very successful. But one of the things that makes the daggers different than the sword is that the daggers never really slow you down. They're both respecting your directions, but the swords will actually slow you down at certain times. Like leading up into the strike, your split body movement is sort of blending down toward 0, and then you strike, and then it blends back up toward to 1. The daggers are not doing any blending like that. You're just split body, and then you're striking, and then you're back into split body. It's like a seamless process.